Yeah, hello. Today I want to discuss uh, the types of visas that we have if you want to travel to South Africa. We know that people are traveling every day, people are traveling almost every week, every month to every part of the world. Today, I just want to focus on traveling if you want to travel to South Africa and the different types of visas or the different types of permits you can be able to apply for. Now, uh, there are different categories of visas. We have the work visa that you can apply for. You have a study visa that you can apply for. We also have a relative visa that you can apply for. We have the business visa, and we also have the exchange visa. Now, there are other forms of visas, but because they are not actually something I want to focus on today, my focus is specifically on, how do you call it, on study visa and also a relative visa. For that matter, I would just like to focus on those, types of visas for today. Now, I want us to check if we say a relative visa, what is a relative visa? Now, relative simply means somebody that is close to you, somebody that is part of your family. We mean the immediate family, somebody you bear the same name with, somebody you share the same surname with. It's your relative. Therefore, father, mother, child, sisters, or siblings are all relatives. Now, there are aspects where we have extended relatives that bears the same name with you. They are equally considered as what? Relatives. Now, if you want to go to South Africa and live with a relative, then that is the right permit, the right visa that you can be able to apply for to travel to South Africa to go and live with someone uh, over there. But everything comes with a condition. If you are going to South Africa, one of the most important requirements to get a relative permit is that the person should be able to have the financial means to take care of you. The person should be able to uh, take care of you in times of any kind of difficulties during the time that you're going to stay with him. Now, relative visas are only issued for a period of 2 years or 24 months. A period of 2 years or 24 months. Now, if you want to apply for a relative visa, the first thing you have to do is to get an invitation from that relative. Now, after the invitation, the relative needs to add his bank statement to, how do you call it, to the invitation for you. Because the bank statement here plays a very vital role. Because Home Affairs would like to see how the person is making his ends meet, how the person is getting money to sustain himself. Therefore, if the person cannot sustain himself, the Department of Home Affairs won't grant you coming in. Now, I want you to understand that if you are denied a relative visa based on the fact that the person you're going to cannot take care of you, it's not a cruelty on the part of Department of Home Affairs, but rather it's a blessing to you because you are going to a strange land and the only person you call relative doesn't have the financial means to take care of you. I hope this makes sense. So the person should have the financial muscle, the capability to be able to take care of you. Now, some of the things that goes with a relative permit is that you are going to live with a relative. Therefore, this relative visa does not guarantee you the opportunity to work. It equally does not guarantee you the opportunity to study. So a relative permit simply would state that to live with a relative, either to live with father, to live with a husband, to live with a mother. That is what it's going to state in. Now, what happens if the person who is your relative is taking care of you happens to pass away alongside whilst you are still on your relative permit? What happens is that you get deported or you are given time to leave the country. The reason simply it's because the person you are living with is no longer in existence. The person you are living in has passed on. For that matter, there is no need for you to stay in the country anymore. Therefore, relative visas, those are some of the disadvantages. It wouldn't be renewed if the person is no longer in existence. Therefore, relative permit is renewable after every 24 months. Now, if you stay in the country for a period of 5 years, you are uh, granted or you are allowed to apply for what we call a permanent resident. Now, if you get your permanent resident, it means you are no longer living on that person. You are granted a stay in this country as long as you wish. So, in simple terms, this is relative visa. Please, relative visa is strictly for people of blood relations, people bearing similar names. Now, with that much ado, I would like to discuss the issue of uh, study permit. Now, what is a study permit? We all understand study means to go and learn. Now, there are times where people feel like traveling outside their countries so that they can be able to what further their educations, or better still, they feel that a college outside their present country it's better off than where they find themselves. For that matter, they want to go to a new country to study their courses of choice. In some cases, it's not like the university or there is no university that the person doesn't like in his country, but rather it happens that the kind of program the person wants to do it's not in his country. Alternatively, the person might have not liked the standard, therefore, he decides to sojourn out so that he can be able to pursue that particular uh, career or, sorry, program. Now, if you want to go to study uh, outside your country or you want to go and study in South Africa, you should still have the financial means to do that. So one of the basic requirements you should always prepare for is where you're going to have your what your financial support for. Is it going to be a form of bursary? Is it going to be on scholarship? Is it going to be on sponsorship? Or there is a relative in that country that is going to take care of that uh, side of your education? If that is the case, the person needs to make that available, makes the evidence available that he will be able to take care of you during your stay in South Africa. Now, if it is a company that is sending you or it's a scholarship, they equally needs the evidence, any form of evidence that your stay in that country in South Africa is not going to be a nuisance to the state, and a proof of admission indicating that you are going to school, you know. So when we discuss a study permit, it is purposely for what? Studies, for you to go and learn and nothing else. Now, you are not allowed to work with a study permit. In most of the countries, including South Africa, you are only allowed about 8 hours per week to work. If you split that 8 hours per week, it comes down to almost roughly about less than 1.5 hours per week for you to work, and that is it. If you breach this contract, the company that hires you more than 8 hours per week will be charged 500,000 rands. Now, because there is no company willing to risk that, they aren't going to hire you for more than that period of time. Many people do not understand this concept. To them, they think that if they have access to a study visa or any form of study permit, they can be able to travel outside their country and work whilst they are studying. The truth remains that you cannot work beyond a certain limit of time. Now, the only people who are allowed to work are people who are holding an asylum or a refugee status. If the person is holding an asylum or a refugee status, he or she is allowed to work. His position is more or less like a permanent resident in the country until proven otherwise that his asylum status or refugee status is null and void, or the solution or the reason for which he has left his country has been resolved, and for that matter, he can go back to his country. Now, one thing I want you to understand about asylum seeking is that you are running away from your country with the indication that people are after your life, or there is something after your life. It could be individual, it could be a group, it could be community, it could be the government, it could be a political asylum. Whatever asylum it is, you should know that you are seeking a refuge in someone's country. Therefore, you don't have the freedom to move in and move out into the country as you want to. Remember, if someone is chasing you or your life is at risk, will you go back to where they want you dead? Will you go back to where your enemies are? Will you go back to where people want to see you dead? For that matter, if you hold an asylum and choose to go back home, it means you wouldn't be able to return again into South Africa. However, asylum grants you the opportunity to work. Now, if we look at asylum, asylum only gives you what? How do you call it? A refugee status only gives you uh, a 6 months period, which is renewal. The documentation they gives you is only for 6 months period, which is renewable. Now, so every 6 months you have to go back to Department of Home Affairs and then renew your asylum status. If you don't renew this, automatically the company you're working with, your contract will be terminated, because no company can work with you if you don't have the required documentation to work in the country. Now, I look at a relative permit, I looked at a work permit, and I'm talking about asylum now. Now, if you look at a relative permit, you are given a period of 2 years which is renewable. If in case the person you're staying with passes on, you automatically loses the status of what? Of that permit. Therefore, you would be asked to go back home. Now, a study permit, you would be given a permit for the period of years you're supposed to study in that country. Now, with a study permit, it is renewable. Now, one thing about study permit is that immediately you are done studying, it is stated that you have to go back to your country. But it does not simply mean that if you finish your program today, you need to pack and go. If you have the opportunity and then you are granted what? Another admission to do your master's degree, then you have the opportunity to stay longer. That is, if you are not interested in going back to your country to work, you can apply. If you are given admission, you get a renewal of what? Of your study permit for the number of years that your master's degree lasts for. If your master's degree is 1 year, you would be given what? A stay for 1 year. If it is 2 or 3 years, you will be given a stay for 3 years. In the same manner, that applies to a PhD. So if you want to spend your entire time in the country studying, you will continuously be granted what? The stay in the country. But then this must go with your financial what? Support. It should go with your financial capability. If you cannot display that you are capable of paying your fees, or your financiers are not able to pay your fees, there is no way you will be granted the opportunity to, continue to stay in the country and then do your studies. All right. So if you get your visas, I want you to have the opportunity to go through the visas and study the conditions very well. Now, one of the major reasons why I choose to do this video is to educate my brothers and sisters who are willing to travel outside, who are yet to travel outside and do not understand these terms and conditions. Now, I am also trying to support those who have already left their home countries and are in South Africa or in other countries and do not know the implications of the permits or the study permits of whatever permits they are holding. Therefore, I hope this would benefit anyone out there who is willing to sojourn out of his country. This is GODMILL TV. We aim to educate on people on traveling issues. We bring you news on politics and entertainment. We also give you any information that is necessary. We are equally into marketing and advertising of companies, and if necessary, we go beyond all this. We therefore wish you can be able to subscribe to this channel, like our comment, like our channel, put comments below, and do not forget to ring the notification bell so that if we have any informations or we have new videos, we will be able to share with you to update you. With this little information, I wish you the best of stay wherever we are. Till we meet again, it has always been GODMILL TV. Thanks for watching.